I'm just letting you know that in this podcast, we are going to be drawing tarot cards around this week's new moon in the sign of Cancer. So if you don't have a pen and a paper handy, pause and go and grab one or get ready to write on your phone, because I'm going to be asking you to choose cards, and you need to kind of write it down so that when the card is read out, you know what you've got. It's going to be really fun. I really enjoyed recording this. I hope you enjoy getting your free readings and getting some insights into how to best work with this week's new moon. All right, so this week we are mixing tarot and astrology. I'm very excited to be welcoming back to the show. Actually, no, I don't think I've been on Bonnie's show. Bonnie hasn't been on my show. Bonnie Koenig is a very well-regarded tarot practitioner and intuitive guide based in Canada. Through her platform, Breathe with Bonnie, Bonnie offers tarot consultations, guided meditations, mentorship programs aimed at helping women reconnect with their inner wisdom and aimed at helping them navigate life's transitions with clarity and intention. So Bonnie's approach emphasizes using tarot as a reflective tool, and I believe you say reflective rather than predictive tool, to understand the present moment. Yeah, there we are, rather than to predict the future. There we go. Bonnie co-hosts the podcast Tarot with Bonnie and Peter alongside Peter White, who has been on this show. And there they delve a lot into the meanings of the tarot cards and so on. What we're going to do today, I've got a couple of questions. But first of all, I want to ask you a question. And first of all, Bonnie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Yay. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, thank you so much. In fact, Bonnie was saying just before we started speaking that you have some of my books and cards, correct?
I do. I have your Moonology book. I have the ebook version of that, or like the online version, and I have all of your decks.
Okay, amazing. Because what that made me think was, since you actually understand Moonology, at least to a degree, have you ever had any thoughts of how you could combine tarot and Moonology? Because we always talk about tarot and astrology. But have you ever had thoughts about that? Because, if you're into the moon and you're into tarot, so for anyone listening who's into tarot and the moon, any ideas you can share before we get into this week's astrology? And I also want to ask you to do a reading as well.
Oh, okay. Well, I love your approach to how you work with the moon in terms of setting new intentions. So, and I think the tarot is a beautiful marriage of setting intentions and like working with the moon and working with tarot, because a lot of times we set intentions or we kind of really don't know what we want at a certain point in our lives. And you can actually pull cards to be like, oh, what would be something that would be good for me to think about setting an intention around? And I actually do that quite often with the cards. And then same with when the full moon rolls around and there's, an opportunity for us to release what isn't serving us anymore, taking us into that next phase. Pulling cards is a wonderful way to gain some insight into what we might be ready to release on a subconscious level, right? Like I think sometimes when we're using the cards, it presents opportunities to us that maybe we weren't aware of or just taking enough time to really dig into. So I think that would be a great way.
Yeah, no, amazing. So in fact, when this podcast goes live, I believe we'll have just had or just be about to have the new moon. And even if it's not, even if we we won't change the timing, but let's talk about using tarot to help set intentions, because that is fascinating. Because I know a lot of people say, oh, I don't know what to wish for. I don't know which intentions to set. And I'm a bit like that at the moment as well, actually. So let's drill down on that a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I think that's great. I think we reach a point in our lives where we don't really know what we want anymore. And the tarot, or even oracle cards, of course, in general, can help us see things again that maybe we weren't ready to see or we weren't thinking about. I think anytime we come to a practice like tarot or oracle cards, it's giving us that space for stillness to open up maybe a little bit more to our inner wisdom. So if we wanted to set an intention with tarot, we could pull cards and be like, what intention am I ready to set? And then based on the card that comes up, maybe that's a message of gratitude. Maybe that's a message of receiving. Like there's so many different, like there's 78 messages if we think about a tarot card. So, or like the deck in general. So what message is ready to emerge? And then how can we work with that intention in this next cycle?
Okay, well, what about, is it possible if we do 2 cards and people can choose card number 1 or card number 2?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, well, why don't we do that as a start?
Okay.
I thought it might be fun to do little readings for people today.
It's always fun to do readings.
Exactly. You can do it too if you want, so don't peek at the cards yet.
Okay.
You don't have to.
I won't. So I'm going to pick 2 cards.
Like
one is going to be option A and one's going to be option B?
Yeah. But you have to hold them where you can't see them, I suppose.
Okay. I'm just shuffling them. I'm going to use Chris Ann's The Light Seers Tarot.
Excellent.
Okay. So
what do we need? So what's the question exactly? Well, now you've seen.
What intention, what message can we receive to work with an intention right now? Like based on the messaging of the card, we can create an intention based on this.
For the new moon.
For the new moon.
This week.
Yes.
As we go live.
Yes. All so right. My right hand would be option A and my left hand would be option B.
All right. So let's hear it for people. Let's, first of all, if you're watching or listening, say out loud option A or option B. Okay, let's hear option A.
Okay. Wow, this is amazing. So option A is the world. So this is card 21 in the tarot. What I will say about this for setting an intention is celebrate your success wherever you are on your journey. So the world is really about sort of the completion of a cycle, but it's also about taking time to celebrate where you are in that cycle, even if you're not near the end of it. I think a lot of times in life, we just kind of check the box and be like, okay, that's done. What's the next thing? And we don't take enough time to really celebrate how far we've come or where we are on that journey. So I would create an intention based on celebrating your successes, big or small, and really honoring that and taking the time to do that. So I love this. I have to do this for myself.
Excellent. Okay. And those who chose option B.
Okay. So option B, this is the 2 of Swords. Ooh. And the 2 of Swords is about making a decision. So if we wanted to set an intention around making a decision, this card really is about, swords are about how we communicate, and it's what we think about and what we speak about. So a lot of times these are the things that we're thinking about. And a lot of times when we want to make a decision, we're overanalyzing it. So this card is like, you can analyze that, but also use your heart to help you make a decision. Sometimes we don't allow our heart to guide us. So I would say if you're having a difficult time making a decision, use an intention where like, I listen to the wisdom of my heart to help me make decisions. Something along those lines of knowing that it's possible for you. It doesn't all have to be the mind overanalyzing.
Okay. All right. So option 1 seemed a little bit easier.
Yes. But option 2, right? I think, okay, this is me. Like, it's so funny that I got that, well, I pulled that card because I'm a Libra sun and Libra rising. I have a very hard time making decisions and I overanalyze everything. So if I created an intention for myself of like, it's okay to trust your inner wisdom, it's okay to trust your heart to help you make that decision, it takes some of the pressure off to always be like weighing the pros and cons and being like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make the right decision. And sometimes the unknown, like that's a hard place to go because we want to make a decision based on like, oh, I know exactly what's going to happen if I do this. And not knowing that is a tough place to be, but knowing like I can follow my heart and everything is going to be okay. I think that helps. That helps when you're trying to do that.
Okay, all right. So very interesting, very interesting. So do you work with astrology at all in your readings, or are you really tarot and astrology something you're kind of interested in? A bit like I'm an astrologer. I'm slightly interested, well, I'm quite interested in tarot, but I mean, I use oracle cards more than I use tarot cards. How much do you use astrology?
Not very much. I'm not as well versed in astrology. It's funny though, because as a kid, I loved astrology, but I looked at astrology based on like I knew I was a Libra. I didn't know about rising or where my moon was. It was just basically like I'm a Libra. And then I would always, look at my horoscope or see who I was compatible with, like, if I was in a relationship. And it's funny because I always dated left-handed Geminis. I don't know. And I married a left-handed Gemini, but I don't, other than sort of understanding the signs, I don't use astrology in my tarot readings because that's not my strength. But I'm aware of what cards align with what signs. But yeah, I wouldn't be comfortable giving the astrology take on a tarot reading because again, that's not my strong suit. That's Peter, my podcast partner. He's much stronger in astrology than me.
Okay. So, in terms of the tarot cards and the signs,
Mhm.
can we do a quick fire round and you tell us which card goes with which sign?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, we'll
I think
start softly. Aries.
Aries is emperor.
Okay. All right.
I think
I don't want
Aries,
to put you
yes.
on the spot here. Feel free to refer to a sheet if you have it written down somewhere.
I know I should. Okay, I don't know which planets are assigned. I know some of the planets that are assigned to some of the cards, but the signs I might be able, some I might not know 100%.
So,
Okay.
Aries Emperor, that's what
Yes.
I've got here because the keywords are authority, action, and leadership.
Yes. Taurus is
Taurus,
the Hierophant.
yes, exactly. Traditions, values, and grounding.
Yes.
And then Gemini,
Is the Lovers.
yep, that's exactly what I've got. You got 3 out of 3 so far, Bonnie.
Yep. I'm on a
Choice,
roll.
quality, and sacred connection.
Yes.
Cancer,
Cancer is the Chariot. Yes, the Chariot.
exactly. I'm giving you hints.
I
That's
was
the
thinking
emotional.
crab in my head and I was thinking Lovers, but no, it's the
Yeah, no,
Chariot.
it's fine because you actually said you're not like that into, you're not that well versed in astrology anyway. So it was only because you mentioned, I thought, oh, maybe she just knows that one. It's just interesting because I'm curious to know your take on it because I don't know tarot that well. I'm never quite sure of what's what in terms of all the different cards and the signs. Okay, so then we get to Leo, and the
It's
clue
strength.
is in the name, yes, because
Yes,
we actually have
strength.
the lion on, at least on the Rider Waite Smith deck. We've got a lion on the card, don't we, for strength?
Yes.
So courage, inner power, heart over ego. Rightio. And then Virgo, what occurs to you?
Yes. Virgo, I'm not sure. It could either be the Hermit or is it the Hermit?
Yep, the Hermit.
Okay.
That's what my list says. Inner
Okay.
guidance, reflection, solitude. Libra, because you just mentioned it.
Justice.
Yes, balance, truth, and karma. Now, obviously, Scorpio has
Death.
because
Scorpio is
they
the
get
death
all the
card.
scary stuff, exactly. Transformation, release, and rebirth.
Mhm.
Um, and then Sagittarius.
Sagittarius is that the tower?
No, it's
No.
temperance.
Okay, so it goes, yes, okay. Oh, yes,
Which
of
is an
course. Temperance
interesting
comes
one because
after.
Sagittarius is such a wild energy, and Temperance is like calming it all down. It's almost like a counterbalance.
Yes,
Wisdom, moderation, expansion through balance. All right. And then this is excuse me, another interesting one,
yes,
Capricorn, which
is
gets,
the devil.
yeah, like Scorpio gets all the fun. It's got the devil, control, temptation, reclaiming personal power. Now, just to know, we all have all 12 signs in our chart. So, it's not like, oh, well, Capricorn's got the devil. Ha ha, that's not me. We've all got Capricorn in our chart somewhere.
Yes.
And then Aquarius.
Aquarius is Aquarius is the star.
That's correct. Hope, cosmic connection, higher vision. I didn't mean to be testing you on your memory, but you've done really, really well. And then the last one is kind of a weird one in a way because astrologically it should be, it rules Cancer, but it's Pisces.
And that's the moon.
That's the moon, exactly. Intuition, dreams, and the unconscious. So now, how can people use the astrology with tarot? I mean, I suppose what would we do? Would we say, oh, there's a new moon in Pisces, therefore we're going to look at the moon card, or how do people use the signs and the cards together?
You can definitely look at their connection through the major arcana card. Like there's 22 cards, and then each planet and each sign is related to one of the cards in the major arcana. But there's also and this is not my strength at all. This would be Peter's strength, but there's cards in the minor arcana as well. So those are the other 56 cards. That relate to that sign as well. So there's different ways that people can work with that energy. If we were looking at the majors, you could see the theme of that card in the tarot and how that relates to where the moon is in that cycle. So if you were talking about did you say the new moon in Pisces?
Yeah, for example.
Yeah. So again, that's the moon card. The new
Yeah.
moon in Pisces is the moon card. And then it would be the themes of that card. So it could be, our dreams, connecting to our intuition, connecting with the divine feminine, if we look at the moon in that respect. So it's also when I look at that card, it's like facing our fears, like what's ready now to come to the light. Because if we think about the moon and when there's a full moon, we get that beautiful soft glow that the moon offers us. And it's quite a really great opportunity to bring things forward in that soft, nurturing light, as opposed to like the bright light of the sun. So that would be a really good opportunity to go inward, trust your intuition, look at maybe some of those things that you've been afraid to look at, and know that you'd be supported in that time. And also the unknown.
Right. And so this week, actually, we have the new moon in the sign of Cancer, which is the Chariot.
Yes.
And it's interesting because the Chariot for me, I mean, that's why I was sort of doing the horses thing when we were going through them, because for me the Chariot, I associate the Chariot really, I think that my earliest memory of chariots was watching Ben-Hur with my dad, on my dad's knee when I was little, and they have the big chariot scene where all the chariots are going around the Roman forum, I think it's called, and so I see it as a kind of a racing speed thing, and this new moon is actually taking place in a harmonious aspect to Mars, and also Mercury's harmonizing with Uranus at the same time. And yeah, I just feel like there's a lot of speed around this new moon this week. So, I mean, maybe we could draw maybe two more cards for guidance for this particular new moon.
Okay.
But what do you think as well with the idea of the Chariot and the new moon and the fact that this is quite a speedy sign? Can you put that together, or is that just, an interpretation too far?
No, that's okay. I mean, if we look at this new moon through the lens of the Chariot is a card of action and determination. And it's also a card of leaving your comfort zone, right? So it's like going from a place where you feel comfortable and sort of going out on this journey. It doesn't have to be really fast. Like sometimes with the Chariot, we think about speed, but things can speed up when we feel confident and determined to take that step. So it's like taking the next step and then knowing the next one will come. And two, with the chariot, it's like we may not know the exact route of how to get there, but if we have that destination in mind, we know that we're going to end up there if we're taking action. So I don't know if that aligns with what's happening with this new moon.
It really does. All right. So we did a card for people to understand what their intention should be about. Can we do a card that gives us an idea of how well we are going to go with our intentions, or what the outcome of our intentions will be? Is that too predictive for your...
No, we can do that.
or what's another way to phrase it? Something about sort of, we've set the intentions. Now what do we need to know?
Well, what can support me to work with this intention, I guess, right? Because if we have that intention of either with the world of really celebrating where we are in this journey, what's going to help support us to do that? And then same with the Two of Swords, if it's about making a decision and really tapping into what our heart desires as opposed to just the head, then what can help to support us in that, with that intention? Because really the idea of the intention is hoping that that's what's going to manifest. So if we can get some guidance in terms of what will help us to do that, maybe that could be helpful. Does that sound?
Okay, so why don't we pick another two cards and then people can choose A or B again?
I'll pick one for the world and I'll pick one for Two of Swords, and then maybe that'll make sense. Okay. Okay. Oh, I love this. Okay. So for the people who picked the world, which was celebrating where you are, with that, what's going to support you to help this intention manifest for you? We have the Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups is very sensitive. They're very creative and really in tune with their emotions. They're not afraid to wear their heart on their sleeve. So
looks like a cute boy.
He's a cute boy. He's got like some tattoos. He's got roses. There's a little romantic picnic. So this really is the card. I think sometimes we're afraid to indulge when we're celebrating, or maybe we don't think that we're worthy enough of receiving that. So I would say what's going to help you to celebrate your success is don't be afraid to celebrate you and indulge a little bit in that, and knowing that, like, if you want to go out for a great dinner, or you want to open a nice bottle of wine, or you want to do something that makes you feel really good, go ahead and do that. Like, you're getting the permission to do that. So
that's really building on the celebrate your success idea. Go and celebrate with a nice dinner with people.
Absolutely. And be with people who really make you feel good, like that. You don't have to hide your feelings, right? Like, it's okay to be sensitive, and it's okay to celebrate in the way that you want to. So this is like your dreams, and go for it.
Okay. All right. And now what about the Two of Swords people?
Okay. So the Two of Swords people, this is funny because I got the Four of Wands, and the Four of Wands energy is very similar to the world in terms of celebrating where you are. So we have a lot of celebration in both of these intentions. So the Four of Wands marks a celebration of some sort, whether that's a wedding, whether that's a graduation. Now is a time for like graduations and ceremonies. And again, it's like, you've created some stability where you are. So thinking about your intention, if you're trying to make a decision, know that the decision that you're making is, you're going to have some stability about that, and also celebrate that. So we take things so seriously in life. So what can you do to help you make a decision that's more joyful as opposed to really weighing on you? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I'm still trying to slightly work out how the Two of Swords kind of says, stop being wishy-washy about your intention, does it? Is that too harsh?
No, the Two of Swords is about like, make a decision, because even if you don't make a decision, that's making a decision. So if there's something that you have to decide on, you can do it, but don't overthink it.
Yeah.
So yeah, being wishy, right? Because we're always like, I don't know, should I not? And the Two of Swords is like, make a decision. And I think the Four of Wands, like, do it in a way that's joyful. Like, what is how can you make this decision in the most joyful, celebratory way? And knowing that there is stability with this decision. Also, with the wands, that's passion. So if you're trying to decide between two things and there's something you're really passionate about, that's the driving force behind that too, because wands is about creativity, following your passion, having that spark that really, like doing things that you really, really enjoy.
So maybe when you're making your decision, try and find what's going to spark joy.
Yeah, absolutely. See, you just summed all of that up.
Okay, that's brilliant. So, Bonnie, in my quest for free readings today, can I ask you for one more?
Yes.
Okay, I'm kind of taking a leaf out of the book of someone I work with in who's in New York a lot, or she lives in New York, called Laura Day, and she does a very interesting thing where what she does is she, first of all, she pull two cards, but don't show us what they are. So
okay,
shuffle and choose two cards.
Okay, I'm going to put the other ones back in the deck.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm picking two cards.
Two cards face down.
Okay. I've got my cards.
I hope you're enjoying this as much as I am, because I'm having a great time.
Yay, I'm glad. Anytime I get to pull cards, it makes me so happy.
Oh, good. Okay. So, the rules of this last and final card pull for the day, based on what Laura does, because it's so good. Now that the cards are pulled, now we ask the question. So I want you, the listener, the viewer, to think of two burning questions that you have. Okay. Question 1 and question 2. And I would even say, just pause the video or the podcast and write them down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to assume people have done that. And now, Bonnie, drum roll, please. I'm going to get the answer. So to question 1, what card did we get?
Okay. We got the wheel. So in the traditional tarot, it's the Wheel of Fortune. So on here, it's called the wheel. And this is card 10 in the Major Arcana.
Okay.
So
and how would you interpret that? Yes, let us know.
Okay. I love the Wheel of Fortune. So for me, this card is about having a desire. So we're talking about intentions today. What is it that you desire? And like putting that desire out into the universe, however it is that you do that, and not trying to control the outcome. So this card really is about allowing the universe to bring you what you want in a way that maybe you could never have expected. So we always try to micromanage everything, and we think that our intentions are only possible if we like figure every single step out and do all the things. And this is saying, don't do that, because put it out there, focus on the desire, not the lack of having it, and let the universe bring it to you. So this is a card of luck and cycles. Things are always changing. So focus on your desire, but don't try to force it into reality.
And I feel like that card, in a slightly more predictive sense than you would probably go to, I feel like it's a lucky break. Mm-hmm. Chance could be on your side. Whatever you ask for, if it sort of could go either way, it's a bit like, the tennis ball that just goes over the net.
Yes, yes, it is. It is a card of fortune, right? We call that, the Wheel of Fortune. So it's like spinning the wheel and allowing the wheel to land where it should, as opposed to trying to make it land in a certain spot. Okay.
All right. There we go. And so, bringing to mind your second question, what did we all get, Bonnie?
Okay. We got the Two of Pentacles.
Oh.
So this is about balance. So whatever your question is, think about where that, like how that fits into your life right now and what's in balance and what's out of balance. So the Two of Pentacles tells us that we can juggle a lot of things in the air. Like things could be crazy and we're okay. Like we can keep up with that, but sometimes that isn't always necessary. So see what's out of balance. Is that like, is work out of balance? Is play out of balance? How we, in terms of like spending time with our family or friends. So see where you can bring more balance into the situation. And
Somebody asked a love question there,
okay.
or a question about, I don't know, then the new job is a bit clearer, but something that doesn't seem very related. How does that work out?
With the Two of Pentacles.
Yeah.
Okay, so if it's funny because we got another two, which the Two of Swords was about making decisions, and that's what twos are about. So if it's a relationship type question, in this case, I would say look at the pros and cons. Like what's balanced and what's out of balanced in this relationship, right? It could even be what you're bringing to the relationship. So how can you make it more like how can you bring more harmony and balance into this situation? If things are completely out of whack and that's like a red flag for you, maybe that's not, where you want to go. But if it's almost like, oh, I'm coming into this relationship and things feel really good, that's great. Or it's an opportunity for you to be aware of what's not quite in balance. And now you have that opportunity to make changes. So it really is a card of balance and choice, like what we're saying yes to and what we're saying no to.
This is so good, and it's so powerful with the astrology. Like, it just works so well. It really does. It's amazing. We've definitely got to do it again, please.
Oh, absolutely. In a
Yeah, that'd
heartbeat.
be great. We should definitely do it. So, okay. So, if people want to get a personal reading from you, Bonnie, do you do them?
Yes, I do.
How do they find you?
How do they find it? They can find me on my website. That's the best place. It's breathewithbonnie.com. So on my website, you can book a consultation with me. You can see all of like, I have some workshops coming up. So anything that I'm doing, I always put on my website.
What are your workshops?
So I have a workshop coming up I believe it's on July the 3rd. It's called Tarot as a Mirror. So it helps people, again, to use the tarot as a way of seeing what's present for you right now so that you can make decisions moving forward, as opposed to seeing it as a predictive tool and then maybe feeling like, oh, if that's going to happen, then, I'm just going to raise my hands and be like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do. So I think when we look at the cards from that perspective of show me what's happening in my life now and what's going to support me to move forward, then you have the agency to make decisions and take action for what's best for you.
Okay. All right. So the best thing is to go to your website, breathewithbonnie.com.
Yes.
And just go from there. And if they want to book in for your workshop, then presumably that's going to be on your website as well.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Bonnie, I think that was amazing. Fantastic. I hope other people enjoyed it as much as I did. I really did. I actually chose cards, and I'm now going to go and look at the cards a bit deeper and see what I think of my answers.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad you got some insight.
Yeah, no, I really, really did. So, Bonnie, thank you so much. And let's do it again sometime.
I would love to. Thank you so much for having me. It's been such an honor.
Oh, my pleasure.